Could they be making a title challenge?
The words
and now...
Manchester United and Under the Radar do not go together. Don't try. You can't have this. I'm not allowed you to have this.
How many people?
No.
Hello and welcome back to Off the Crossbar Podcast with myself, Regan Walsh, and as ever, my co-presenter, Brad Morris. How are you on this Monday afternoon, Brad?
Blue Monday, innit?
Yeah.
Most depressing day of the year.
Apparently, though. Been a bad day so far. There's a lot happened in the football world, which we'll get on to talk about this past weekend. So it's definitely not a blue Monday for us. We have plenty to talk about. We've had 8 fixtures in the Premier League. We are recording this before Arsenal take on Newcastle this evening and before any of the action during midweek, obviously. So the weekend got underway in the West Midlands as Wolverhampton Wanderers played West Bromwich Albion at the Molineux. And it was Sam Allardyce's side that went on to win 3-2 with Mateus Pereira scoring 2 penalties, Shemi Ajayi scoring the other goal for West Brom, and then Willy Bolly and Fabio Silva scoring for Nuno Espirito Santo's side. What were your thoughts on that?
I call this the Robert Snodgrass effect.
Yeah, I fully understand where you're going with this.
Sam, he's the best English manager of them all, isn't he?
It's a bit much saying he's the best English manager.
Oh no, obviously he isn't. We all know who it really is.
Dean Smith. You have to give him credit this season.
Much. Thank you very much.
Yes, well, good game for West Brom to finally get a win, especially against their rivals. Just recounting the game now, first penalty that they won, it was a stupid foul by Willy Bolly.
Could we say that was a free kick there?
Yeah, that's what I remember.
It looks more on the line,
doesn't it?
And I don't know what the rule is if it's on the line.
I think it's one where did the players foul, like where did the player initially make the contact, and I think that's because it happened in the box and he might have felt like on the line, that's why it was given as a penalty rather than as a free kick. Well, obviously it went to VAR and they decided that it was enough for a penalty rather than a free kick. Pereira coolly dispatched of it. Then just before half-time, Fabio Silva scored a goal. Good goal for the youngster, finally getting on the score sheet for Wolves. And then a few minutes later, Willy Bolly made up for redemption, getting on the score sheet himself. I've got to say, West Brom's defence for those 2 goals, though, was really poor.
Yeah, shoddy.
Just and then into it. Yeah, really easily. And then Shemi Ajayi scored just after the break for Sam Allardyce's side. Again, defending-wise, not really the best by Wolverhampton Wanderers. And then 4 minutes later, Mateus Pereira had another penalty. Connor Cody, what on earth was he doing with that challenge?
In real time, it looks like Robinson goes down in slow motion.
Yeah.
It is a slight clip of it.
For me, there's just... I don't even know what to expect. It was such a silly thing for him to do. But easy conversion again for Pereira, sends the keeper the wrong way, goes a different way to what he did with his first penalty, and Big Sam leaves Wolverhampton with all 3 points.
What was there? Another moment in this game where Wolves should have had a penalty there. I've been trying to find this everywhere and I can't see it anyway. Even all the highlights vids have just cut it out.
Who was it for?
It's the Wolves. It's the handball decision. Not being able to re-find it anyway.
I haven't seen anything of it myself, actually.
That's because all the highlights just haven't put it in for some reason. Which makes me think, it can't have been that bad then. But...
yeah. I can't seem to recount it myself now, thinking back of the game. But yeah, on to the next game of the weekend. West Ham played Burnley. Not much happened in that game. I've literally got like a sentence or 2 written down in my notes on that game. It was literally when Goodmanson had he shot early for Burnley.
The only thing you can say was his Antonio celebration.
10 out of 10. Poor defence by West Ham. Not West Ham, by Burnley. to try and stop Mikel Antonio. Not really any fight about Burnley in that. And then if you say who was more likely to score again in that game, you'd say West Ham were the more likely out of the two teams rather than Burnley trying to get level at all. Then the following game saw Leeds United welcome Brighton and Hove Albion to Elland Road. Leeds, what
No,
was...
you've done it wrong again. You've done it wrong again.
No, I'm not even going to do that anymore.
No, we actually can't. They were poor.
They were dreadful. I mean, what was Luke Ayling doing when Neil Maupay scored? He saw him.
Problems from again.
He was just sat ball watching and just froze in the middle of the pitch. You're like, come on, surely you don't fucking ball. Rule one is you stay on your marker rather than watching the ball, because if you're not watching the person you're meant to be marking, they're obviously going to have a free chance of scoring.
No, it's not the Bielsa way.
But I mean, I think they could have had 3 or 4 goals in that game easily. I think Leeds were just really poor this weekend. Then the second last game on Saturday saw Fulham welcome fellow London team Chelsea to Craven Cottage. Again, not a lot really happened in this game.
He survived for another week.
Yes. Anthony Robertson got sent off for Fulham just before half-time for a stupid foul on...
Jesus, that tackle.
I mean, there's stupid fouls, and then there's that from Robinson. I don't even know what he was trying to dispute there. It just looked ridiculous, and it was always going to get a red card. Chelsea had chances to score. They did so through Mason Mount 12 minutes from time. It was a good goal from the lad. And then towards the end of the game, counter-attack by Chelsea, and then Timo Werner has a chance, but he can't score. I mean...
The defence of Timo Werner is well and truly out the door now.
Yeah, literally in my notes at the end, I put Werner needs, and then in capital letters, help with 3 exclamation marks, because he needs help. I think he needs to be playing Morecambe every week at this rate.
They had hoped that he was going to be doing a Drogba, and it's turned out that he's Fernando Torres.
Yeah. It really hasn't worked for him so far at Chelsea. Though there's still half a season left for a lot of teams, or just over, depending on how many games they have and haven't played. Gotta say, Fulham...
I think they're still the most impressive of the bottom 4, I think.
Yeah.
But they look all been honest.
I mean, they've got 2 games in hand over Sheffield United and Brighton. So 6 points would put them on to 18, where they would go above Brighton in the league table. But they do need to start finding a way to get results. I mean, I don't know if many were expecting them to get anything at Chelsea, but it would have been nice to nick a draw against this Chelsea side in current climate.
Yeah, they're clearly missing a goal scorer, which you would think Alexander Mitrovic would be providing for them, but he doesn't seem to have to do it in the Premier League.
Because that was like his first spell with them when they were in the Premier League. He struggled in the Premier League, and then that next season he absolutely bossed it in the Championship, and then he just came back to the Premier League with them, and he's completely struggled. The final game on Saturday saw Leicester City welcome Ralph Hasenhüttl's Southampton to the King Power Stadium. Talking points in that game, you could say Kasper Schmeichel really kept Leicester in it, because they could have conceded a handful of goals there if it wasn't for some of his saves in that game.
Potential, just by devil's advocate, does Danny Ings score those chances?
I think he may have done, but again, it's one of them you can't really tell based on the matter and what his positioning would have been for that. Got to say, James Maddison's goal was a really good goal for him. Well worked finish.
Nice the celebration as well.
Yes, nice social distance celebration as they're trying to make or limit the spread of COVID, which is stupid. So they're trying to say now the new rule is try not to celebrate in close proximity, yet you can be in close proximity when it comes to like defending corners and free kicks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then in stoppage time, Harvey Barnes scored a second goal after a lovely build-up play, counter-attacking football from Leicester for that second goal. But Harvey Barnes, who's having a really good season at Leicester, A bit of news that has came out since that game was Will Smallbone of Southampton has suffered an ACL injury in that game. Southampton have confirmed it within the last few minutes. So that looks like is his season injury
that's a long one.
done? Yeah, about 8 to 12 months. If it's a serious one, if he requires surgery.
Yeah, if it's anything like Wesley's one, who is still out and he's only just like training properly again, it's going to be a long one.
Yeah, well, if you think, I don't know whether you've seen it over the weekend or the last part of last week, Hector Bellerin did his like road to recovery from his injury.
I took one look at the scar and I turned off. I'm quite iffy with stuff like that.
I fully agree, but he was out for 8 to 9 months before he was even back on the pitch. So hopefully Smallbone can make a full recovery from there. Sunday,
if I could just add one last thing on Leicester. They're obviously second now, but does it still feel like they're going under the radar like quite a bit?
They're third, not second.
They're second?
No, they're not.
I think I did Man City overtake them.
Man City overtook them on goal difference.
Mistake from my half.
But yeah, I think a lot of teams, or a lot of people seem to have written them off of this title challenge. They seem to be thinking it's Man United, Man City and Liverpool. But you can't rule out Leicester City, especially this season. Excuse me. Right, Sunday the one.
Because it's not really a bad thing. I actually prefer it. It's not the same with Villa. Like, when people go, oh, they don't talk about us enough. Look how amazing we do. No, but I don't mind that. Yeah. Let us go under the radar and surprise people a bit.
It was a bit like United for a while. When they started this little run, no one was like talking about, could United actually be making a serious top 4 challenge? Could they be making a title challenge?
The words of Manchester United and under the radar do not go together. Don't try. You can't have this. I'm not allowing you to have this.
How many people?
No.
If you go back to October the 4th or 6th when they lost 6-1 to Spurs, you wouldn't have thought Man United would be top of the Premier League.
You're wrong, but you don't go under the radar.
I think
you're Man United. You're always getting talked about.
Yeah, but the running has gone a little. I mean, I think that's now they're unbeaten in their last 12 games in the league. I think it is.
Leicester still more impressive than Man U, aren't they?
Yeah, I have to agree. But United have been grinding away at the results. We'll get onto that game shortly against Liverpool. But Sunday started off with Sheffield United welcoming Jose Mourinho's Tottenham to Bramall Lane. Spurs won the game 3-1 with goals from Serge Aurier, Harry Kane, and a phenomenal goal from Tanguy and Ndombele. I mean, that could win goal of the season. That it was such a beautiful goal.
He was slightly lucky, but we'll allow him.
Because he does that first initial pass into back to Bergwijn, who then loops it over to him, and then he loops it over Aaron Ramsdale in goal for the Blades. I mean, I don't think that goal doesn't seem to be getting, or the appreciation for it doesn't seem to be happening as much as you would expect. There was a tiny bit on.
It's because it wasn't done by Mr. Mo Salah.
Yeah.
Or Bruno Fernandes.
Definitely a good goal. Comfortable win for Spurs in the end. Sheffield United really struggling. They're still on course because they've played exactly 19 games now and 5 points. So if they do the exact same record in the second half of the season, they will break Derby County's lowest ever points total in the Premier League with 11 points. So they are on course to get 10 points. Next up was Man United versus Liverpool.
Yeah, now here's a good example of following the COVID guidelines.
Yeah, both teams just socially distancing away from each other for the whole game. Not a lot happened in it. Gotta say, Liverpool are really struggling now. I mean, that's 3 games in a row where they haven't scored in the Premier League.
The weird thing with this one is that having watched the whole game, neither team was bad, if we're defining bad. There was just no killer instinct from either of them, which you would need if you're going to be the title winners.
100%.
Liverpool didn't control it as you would have expected them at Anfield.
Yeah, for me, looking back at it now, you're going to say I think United are going to be the more happier of the two teams with the point there. But speaking on that Liverpool matter, I think they've won maybe 2, possibly 3 of their last 9 games in the league. One was the 7-0, and I think one was in and around the early part of the Christmas fixture list. So they are really struggling at the minute. As the other weekend results gone, they are now down in 4th place in the Premier League, which is not something anyone was expecting to say.
4-way battle.
Technically 5
it's a
if you
fatal
include
4-way.
Spurs.
No, we're not putting Spurs in this, I'm sorry.
But they're only a point behind Liverpool.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Spurs will do it, honestly, but technically, yes, they are. Final game of the weekend so far saw Manchester City play Crystal Palace. City won 4-0 from a brace from John Stones, Raheem Sterling goal, and an Ilkay Gundogan goal. Easy win for City. Palace offered nothing.
Was that ruthless enough?
What, from City?
Yeah, we've been saying the ruthlessness has gone all season, and then they do this.
Oh yeah, I mean,
what was in John Stones' coffee?
I'd love to know, because I mean that first goal, easy header for him, no marking. His second goal, the defensive clearance from them. I mean, Guaita just parries it back into his feet, so it's an easy finish from him. So got to say he was a standout performer in that game for Man City. Good goal, free kick wise from Raheem Sterling, and a great strike by Ilkay Gundogan to seal the 3 points for Pep Guardiola's side.
Unbeaten in 8, but who they play next?
Well, they're in the FA Cup next, aren't they?
Oh, the next game is this Wednesday.
Against your Aston Villa, is it, by any chance?
It would be. I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm shitting myself.
Right, so that's all the Premier League stuff wrapped up about. Little bit of Championship news. Derby County appointed Wayne Rooney as the full-time manager. He's obviously since retired from playing football. Great career, great player for Man United and England. He's Man United's all-time top goal scorer and England's all-time top scorer as well. Though I think it's going to be a hard job for him initially.
How lovely, but now let's rib him because he started awfully.
Yeah. Though don't worry, in 12 months' time, if he doesn't get promotion, he'll get the Chelsea job.
You know, he's going to take Ollie's job.
Don't be silly. Not just yet, anyway.
Shrek at the wheel.
Right, over here in Europe, we've had a lot of games, big games. So, obviously, in our predictions league, we had Napoli versus Fiorentina and Inter Milan versus Juventus. So, a quick roundup of the games in Italy this weekend. Lazio beat Roma 3-0 in the Rome derby. Torino and Spezia played out on 0-0 draw. And then yesterday, Napoli put 6 past Fiorentina, which I don't think anyone was expecting. Definitely not. Atalanta and Genoa was a 0-0, and then Inter Milan beat Juventus 2-0 with Vidal and Nicola Barella getting the goals for Antonio Conte's side. So with how the results have gone, Juventus are now down in 5th, Roma 4th, Napoli up to 3rd, and then the 2 Milan clubs occupy the top spot over in Italy. In the Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund could only manage a 1-1 draw with Mainz. Wolfsburg drew with RB Leipzig 2-2. Mönchengladbach drew with Stuttgart 2-2.
If I could just come back on Mainz, I don't know if you've seen the Levent Ostenali goal for them.
I haven't seen it, actually.
I would encourage people to look this up. It's another one to the addition of Bundesliga goal of the season contenders.
Okay, I'll definitely try and have a look for that. And then yesterday, Bayern Munich beat Freiburg 2-1. Thomas Muller and Robert Lewandowski scored. And then the final game saw Frankfurt beat Schalke 3-1. Luka Jovic getting a brace and his first league start for them since rejoining on loan from Real Madrid, which means he's now scored as many goals in his return for Frankfurt than he did in his whole entire time at Real Madrid.
It's almost as if they were managing him terribly.
Yep. And it's like you've got to expect him to go on and do well again. at
Loan move.
Frankfurt.
Definitely a loan move there, isn't it?
Yeah,
Joe just be intrigued for the summer.
I would imagine him to join them back permanently. There was no league action in Spain this weekend, as it was the Spanish Cup on Thursday and Friday. So semi-finals on Tuesday and Wednesday. Was it Tuesday? No. What days were the semi-finals? No,
I completely forgot they changed the format of this.
can't think. Was it? Was it?
I've
Yeah, the
no
FIFA
idea
Cup.
what the semis were.
Yeah, so the semis were Wednesday and Thursday. Barcelona beat Real Sociedad 3-2 on penalties, and Athletic Bilbao beat Real Madrid 2-1. Then the final was played yesterday, which Athletic Bilbao, sorry, not Atletico, beat Barcelona 3-2. Goals from Isa Villarreal, Inaki Williams, and Oscar De Marcos won the trophy for Athletic Club. Griezmann scored a brace for Barcelona, but that wasn't the main talking point for them. Obviously,
it
was
wasn't.
Lionel Messi. It was Lionel Messi picking up his first red card for Barcelona as he lashes out and strikes Villarreal off the ball, and after a VAR check, it was shown to be, or deemed to be, a red card offence. It really is all going wrong for Barcelona.
That man has had enough.
Yeah, literally nothing is helping him out anymore.
Weirdly, though, if you look at it, the player looks like he's blocking him, and he's just had enough. Like, get out of my way.
Yeah. The big game over in Holland, which we had on our predictions league, saw Ajax play Feyenoord, and it was Ajax that won 1-0 thanks to a Ryan Gravenberch goal. Sebastian Haller getting the assist.
Has he already done more than he did at West Ham?
I feel like he has done. So yeah, he's definitely repaying up.
It's almost like these players are being managed terribly.
Yeah, definitely. So good result there for Ajax. Speaking on the predictions league, so we've obviously done our games, the 6 games. So we had Chelsea versus Fulham. I predicted 2-1, you predicted 1-1. So that means I get the 2 points there for getting the Chelsea win. Liverpool Man United, I predicted 1-0, you predicted 1-1, so you get the 2 points there for predicting a draw. Sheffield United Spurs, Brad gets the 2 points for predicting a Spurs win. I now feel stupid for predicting a Sheffield United.
Now you know how it feels.
Yes. Inter versus Juventus, we were both wrong because Inter Milan won 2-0. Napoli Fiorentina, again, we were both right with Napoli winning, but both wrong with the scoreline, so that's 2 points each. And then Feyenoord versus Ajax, we both predicted an Ajax win, so we were both right there. So that leaves you on 42 points, and I'm now on 61, heading into our next set of fixtures, which will be FA Cup games later on this week, which we'll talk about on our preview show out on Friday. Right, on to the WSL now. We've had a full slate of fixtures this week after last week's catastrophe. So it started off at the Academy Stadium in Manchester as Man City beat Aston Villa 7-0. Lauren Hemp scored a brace, Georgia Stanway, Jill Scott, Ellen White and Natalie Haig own goal, and a Chloe Kelly goal wrapped up the point for what is normally Gareth Taylor's side, but he wasn't there as he's self-isolating. Easy win for City, 6-0 up at half-time. Nothing happened in the second half.
The manner of the result isn't surprising, but for some of the goals I saw, they did let them score a little bit.
Yeah, I mean...
It was the 6th one I saw the most. That our defenders just stood right next to the player who scores it.
Ellen White was the 6th one.
Yeah,
I had to think. I genuinely had to look up who scored the 6th goal. It confused me there. Yeah, comfortable win for City, and they are slowly turning things around and are getting close to the top 3 now in the league.
I can't say much on the performance. Like, it wasn't good enough, even though we weren't expecting much. But I can go for the Equal Pay Brigade, who cunningly came out during this one.
For fuck's sake, what did they say now?
I don't even want to start on them in ourselves.
Yeah.
But I know how can we go back on that in the Chelsea Man U game.
We'll get onto that in a second. or in a bit. Congratulations to Mana Iwabuchi, who made her first league appearance for Aston Villa, coming on as a second half substitution. And another congratulations to 16-year-old Olivia McLaughlin, who came on for her WSL debut in place of Asmita Ale in the 65th minute. Elsewhere in the WSL, Everton beat Bristol City 4-0. Isabel Christensen with a brace, Simone McGill and Megan Finnegan with the goals for Willie Kirk's side. Easy win again for Everton. I think they were the more likely to take the 3 points there in what was Matt Beard's first game in charge of Bristol City, as manager Tanya Oxby has gone on maternity leave. Brighton played Birmingham in a game that finished 0-0. Brighton were definitely unlucky not to win that. They dominated it in terms of chances and overall possession of the game. They couldn't find a way past Hannah Hampton in goal for Birmingham City. Reading played Arsenal at the Madejski Stadium in a game that finished 1-1. Lauren Bruton scored after 5 minutes for Reading, and Vivienne Miedemar scored for Arsenal just before the break.
One of our last goals for the club.
Maybe. Reading unlucky not to win that. They absolutely dominated Arsenal. Arsenal were woeful, one of their worst performances I've seen this season. Chelsea then played Man United at Kings Meadow. Chelsea won the game 2-1. Pernilla Harder and Fran Kirby with the goals for Chelsea, whilst Lauren James scored for Casey Stoney's side. So that result sees Chelsea overtake Man United to go top of the table on goal difference and have played a game less.
Now let's go for the equal pay brigade.
Okay.
Because that Lauren James goal was better than the most goals that I've seen in the male game.
Yeah, it was an absolute great build-up play between herself and Ella Toon, and then that finish pass, Anna Katrin Berger, was a really good finish.
It was the movement that got me, more than the finish, but just a nice move.
Yeah, and to think that she's still only 19 years old as well is crazy, and hopefully she's got a long future at Manchester United and can go on to make appearances for England under Serena Wiegman in the future. And the final game of the weekend saw West Ham play Tottenham, and it was Tottenham that won 1-0 thanks to a Lucy Quinn goal in the 35th minute. West Ham got to feel robbed. They were, you got to say, well, I'll say the better side and had more chances, and they'll feel aggrieved that they didn't score. So, as I said, Chelsea are now top, Man United second, Arsenal in third, and then Bristol City remain bottom. Bit of news coming out today. England manager Phil Neville has left the club, left the job finally, and is set to take over as Inter Miami coach on a 2-year deal. So that should be announced.
After my reserved. Sorry.
Yes, so that should be announced in the next 24 to 48 hours. And Wales manager Jane Ludlow has left the Welsh job with immediate effect as well, which came out as a bit of a surprise, I think, to many. I don't think anyone was expecting her to leave. She had been linked with the West Ham job before they appointed a manager, but it wouldn't surprise me if she does come into club football very soon with the way stuff are going. That's all the roundup from women's football talk. So it's on to Did You See That Now?
Oh, he missed it! I do not believe what I've just seen! Very interesting! Oh!
Something weird is going on.
Shit! Did you see that?
So I'll let you start with your one.
You want me to start with mine? Okay, because have you seen anything this week from Turkish football?
Apart from Mesut Ozil about to go there, no, I haven't.
Well, I would encourage you to look up the game between Istanbul and Başakşehir.
Oh yes, I do know the story. I have seen.
And it's their game against Sivasspor, where they were playing in the snow, and Sivasspor, cunning little bastards, decided to play in their away kit, which just happens to be white.
Yes, I didn't see any of the action, but I have seen a picture of it, and you genuinely can't see the Sivasspor.
They are in stealth mode in this game.
I mean, that is some of the best camouflage you'll ever see. You genuinely can't see them on the pitch from that photo.
Who knew they had invisible powers?
Yes.
And
Do
still
you have
Liverpool.
another story?
I
Incredible.
don't have another one, so I'm intrigued by your one.
Right. So you remember former Liverpool fullback John Flanagan?
I do. Where's he at?
So he's been playing his trade over in Belgium with Sporting Charleroi, or Charleroi, I don't know how it's pronounced.
Are you about to tell me
And
that he's pulled a... I forgot the name of that bloke from last week or the week before.
No, Didier Lamkes, I think his name was. But no, he hasn't pulled one of them and turned up in the rival team's jersey. But there's a bit of transfer news going around because I didn't know he was still playing, but he's set to join or might sign for one of three Polish teams. So they are Jagiellone and Białystok.
Just to say John Flanagan, I genuinely still believe he's like under 25. Like he still feels like a young kid to me.
I don't even know how old he is. I think he might be in his late 20s, is he? Maybe early 30s? 28.
Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's been linked with Jagiellone, Białystok, Górnik Zabrze, and Zagłębie Lubin. And I was like, I know it's not really wild, did you see that? But I didn't know he was still playing. So,
how far he fell.
Yes, and another bit of breaking news regarding Polish football. Polish national team have sacked manager Jerzy Brzezczyk as head coach within the last few hours, which is a bit of a surprise that an international male team manager is being sacked when there's no international men's football happening in the world at the moment.
Question, did Poland actually qualify for the Euros?
I don't know if they did. So give me a second and I'll find you out.
Yeah, they did.
How the fuck did you manage to get that out that quick?
I just typed Poland Euro 2020.
Oh.
So yeah, that's a surprising one.
Yes, because they will be headed in a group with Spain, Sweden and Slovakia. Is the Polish group, so it'll be interesting to see who takes over there.
Lewandowski to take full charge. Just play and manage that shit.
I mean, he could easily do that, considering how easy it is for the Polish national team. Just find him and he'll score. I don't think there's been any other news, unless I've missed anything.
Not that I've seen, no.
We'll obviously have...
I forgot to add something when we were talking about Barcelona, because yesterday I was watching. Have you ever seen Take the Ball, Pass the Ball?
I've never heard of it.
It's the documentary film on Barcelona from like Pep's years.
Mm-hmm.
So just how his philosophy is. It's all the players talking about the style and the tactics and all that. Watch that yesterday, and then watch the Super Cup game. Oh, how the mighty have fallen! Like, for our generation, that Barca team is what the older lot look at Brazil in the 70s.
Yeah, that Barcelona, that tiki-taka Barcelona was always a joy to watch.
Just such a shame.
To see what where they've gone now.
In this documentary, it does, like, towards the end, it does spoil us. They all do start saying Xavi will be the next, like, god manager for Barcelona. Because they always said Johan Cruyff was Mark 1, Pep was Mark 2 because he was the disciple of Cruyff, and Xavi will be Mark 3 because he's the disciple of Pep. Yeah, and I can see that. And I'd learned Joan Laporta, who was obviously in the presidential candidacy this time around, I forgot that he was the president from 2003 to 2010.
Yeah, you know what? I had completely forgotten about it as well.
But he was their president in the glory years.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that is.
If the presidential candidacy would have happened, we would have had a president right now.
It'd be interesting to see what does happen with their candidacy, presidency, because that is obviously postponed until March. I think we did talk briefly on it the other day on our preview show on Friday.
Actually, Joan Laporta was the one who did the poster in the Bernabeu.
Madrid. Yes.
That makes sense now.
Right, so that is obviously all of the football news that we've to talk about this week. Obviously, if we've missed anything, we'll talk about it on our preview show, looking into the FA Cup weekend. There's obviously games happening this midweek. We're not going to do predictions for that because it'll be pointless, but we'll have a look back on them, including...
It's the first time I'm watching my team in what feels like forever.
It's only been a fortnight, hasn't it?
The first game was generally the Man U game.
Oh yeah, the first team, it's been ages, but watching Aston Villa physically play, it's only been a fortnight or so.
It still feels like forever.
Yeah, but the WSL, that was the first time there was
FA
a
Cup
full
game was like
set.
watching it at something on CBeebies, can I just say?
Yeah. Yeah, but for the WSL, it was a month since they last played, apart from Reading and Chelsea, who played last week.
Yeah, that was mental torture, though.
Right, so we'll be back. Our transfer show will be out later on.
I think we were going to aim for tomorrow instead.
Okay, so our transfer show will be out tomorrow, where we'll have obviously the latest and the final closing of the saga regarding Mesut Ozil. Yes, Tomori and Mario Mandzukic's latest, and any other rumours. So make sure you head over to our YouTube channel where you can find our full episode where we break down all the transfer news.
If you believe the current stories, then Timo Werner's about to become the fourth choice striker at Chelsea.
Yes, but we'll let you know more on that tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. We'll be back previewing the FA Cup games on Thursday for us, but that will be out for Friday.
Yeah, I am Friday.
And until then, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from my co-presenter Brad, and we'll see you soon.